You Booked It, episode 80. Hey, entertainers and performers of the world. I'm your host, Dane Reese, and welcome to You Booked It, where I chat with inspiring entertainment professionals 7 days a week. By digging into their journey, we're going to discover everything you need to do to have a successful entertainment career. You know, because training usually skips that part about how to actually make your skills work for you in the real world. Fellow entertainers, my drive here at You Booked It is to share the inspiring and incredible journeys of successful entertainment professionals. We're here to support your journey. So go to youbookeditpodcast.com and join the You Booked It email community, where we dig deep into truly actionable things you can be doing right now to book that next audition, submission, or gig. If you enjoy this free podcast, please show your support and search for You Booked It on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast app, where you can subscribe so you don't miss an episode, leave a rating, and review. And now, let's do this. Okay, let's get started. I am excited to introduce my guest today, Charlie Powell. Are you ready for this, Charlie?
I'm so ready. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Thanks for being here. Charlie is an Australian-born actress and dancer from Sydney and grew up with a passion for performing. Prior to pursuing acting, she trained as a ballet dancer for 17 years. She is a recent graduate of the American Academy of Dramatic Arts and has studied at Australia's prestigious National Institute of Dramatic Arts. Currently, she is based in Los Angeles. Charlie, that is a quick intro of who you are and what you've done, but why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself? Fill in the gaps, who you are, and a little bit more about what you do as a professional in the entertainment industry.
Okay, perfect. So I'm Charlie Powell. I'm 22 years old from Sydney, Australia. So I moved to Los Angeles about 3 years ago for the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. And once I got the letter, I knew that I wanted to move to America. It was just something that I've always wanted. Once I moved, it was a very hard adjustment to be across country, away from my family, friends, my pets. But I look back now and there's nothing that I would regret. I'm so happy to be here. Acting is definitely one of my passions as well as dancing. And yeah, it's been a grind every day here, but I love it and it motivates me every day to keep going.
Yeah, I love it. And let's move on to this next section. And Charlie, look, I am a sucker for a good quote. What is your favorite quote you'd like to share with everyone?
Oh, that's a good question. Either be better than the person next to you. That's probably my favorite one.
Yeah, and can you expand on that a little bit?
That's just a motivating thing. It's not to be jealous of the person next to you or anything. It's just there is people out there that are working hard every day. And if you want to be great at your craft, you have to keep up with everyone else. It's a competitive city and it takes guts to get there. So that's just a good quote that has inspired me to keep going. And when I have my bad days, just to push through.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right, because it's true. There is always someone out there working as hard or harder than you, and you got to keep it up. You have to know that that's a real thing and keep driving forward every single day. Well, let's move on to this section here. Now, Charlie, of course, you are an entertainer. I'm an entertainer, and I think that you'd agree. This industry can be one of the most subjective, brutally honest, personally emotional industries in existence. And you know as well as I that in order to create and have a successful career in this industry, like you're having now, takes a lot of dedication and hard work. And while, yeah, there is an outrageous amount of fun and excitement being an entertainer, there are also our fair share of obstacles, challenges, and failures we are going to experience and we are going to have to move forward through. So tell us, what is one key challenge, obstacle, or failure you've experienced in your career, and how did you come out the other side better because of it?
Okay, wow. I feel like there's been an obstacle every day, It's a tough industry. My biggest obstacle for me was probably getting representation in the United States due
Mm,
to my visa requirements. It was a tough time emailing dozens of people every day and getting people coming back saying, "Do you have a green card?" And I'm like, "No." So they're like, "Come back when you have this and this and this." And it just, I got a lot of rejection, and that was a really tough situation because I just couldn't catch a break. I was like, "Can someone just take a chance on me? I'll prove you wrong. I'll work so hard every day." So that was definitely a big obstacle. I actually signed with a print commercial agency and a manager. They both had the courage to take a chance on me, and they didn't worry too much because they saw a career for me. So I'm like very happy that those people came into my life and believed in me. But that was definitely the hardest obstacle I had because it took me a couple months to get representation.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting representation in any city in general can be very challenging and very difficult, let alone having to add that extra layer of just the straight up legality of it and being able to work in that country. That is crazy. And I'm so glad that you have come out the other side and you've been able to secure representation and secure your visas.
Yeah, it was tough, but I'm so happy now, especially because they can just get another, blonde hair, blue eye American girl. So it's so easy in the industry. They can just get someone else, because someone's working just as hard as you. So
Absolutely.
thank you.
Absolutely. And let's move on to a time that I like to call your spotlight moment. That one moment in time you realized, yes, I am going to be an entertainer for a living, or maybe it was, yes, this is what I need to be doing as an entertainer. Tell us about that.
Okay, so I've had that a couple of times before with my dance career. That was what I was passionate about before acting. I was a dancer since I was like 3 years old. I did probably 20 to 30 hours a week when I was older. I went to performing arts high school. So that was my passion. I remember one time being on stage. We got a standing ovation and I literally just had goosebumps like run through my body. And I was
Hmm.
like, wow, like what performing feels like. This is what I need to be doing for the rest of my life, giving something back to the audience. Oh, I can't even explain it. It's such a good feeling. And that was definitely a highlight. And I'll never forget that moment. That was overall my performing. And then I got into the acting world when I was doing summer courses at NIDA in Sydney and Screenwise Australia, and just a simple class with people that shared the same passion just inspired me so much to just keep doing this for the rest of my life. I couldn't think of anything else that I would rather do.
Yeah, I love that. And you're so right. That feeling when you get it on stage, that goosebump moment when you realize, wow, I have arrived. This is amazing. And it all comes together because it's also a unique feeling. It's not something that you get every single time you perform and every single time
Oh,
you're in front of an
never. Yeah.
audience. But I love those flashes and they always come up at the strangest of times, I find. And it's such clarity and so much fun to be there and realize, wow, I made it. I did it. This is what I want to be doing. And
That's so true.
yeah, I love it. And let's piggyback on that question real quick and talk about your number one booked it moment. Walk us through that day, the auditions and callbacks, if they happen to be a part of it. What was going on in your life, and what about that moment makes it your favorite booked it moment?
Probably the first one that comes to mind was I was a professional cheerleader back in Australia. I was 17 at the time. You had to be 18. I went to the audition and there was a lot of callbacks and re auditioning with different girls. And I actually successfully made it through and I got the job and I spent 3 years with them and I actually got to be in the grand final in 2016, the first premiership they've ever won. So that was a definite highlight in my life. Yeah, so that was my booked it moment. And yeah, that was my first professional job. So I'll never forget that.
Yeah, I love it. I love that first time when you realize that, okay, I've been doing this and I'm passionate about it, but now you get to do it. You get to get paid to do it, which is, I think, mind boggling in a way of itself. Because you're like, wow, I can support myself with doing what I love doing. And that is so amazing and something very few people in this planet actually get to experience. And then also, you said you were cheerleading. I love that arena experience. It's so good with all of the tens of thousands of fans. It's an amazing feeling that a lot of people, simply don't get an arena experience in their career. And it's so great that at such a young age, you were able to have that experience. It's so special.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I'll never forget it. I think the crowd was around 86,000 people, which
Wow.
is insane. And just to perform in front of all those people, it's such a great feeling. And with a group of girls that support you, it was unbelievable. And I'll never forget that.
Yeah, I love that. And let's take a moment to talk about the present. What projects are you working on now? What are you looking forward to? And hey, it's a weird time. We are amidst this global pandemic. How do you see the entertainment industry moving forward in the next couple of years?
So I recently just booked a commercial slash print for AKT, which is a gym. It's like a dance-based gym. So I actually did that during the coronavirus, which
Oh,
was super strange coming back to a different set with all the rules and regulations now.
yeah,
So that was something that I'd just been up to. We shot for 2 days. I think we literally got content for a whole year.
I believe
Which
it.
is smart by them because who knows what's gonna happen next. But yeah, everyone was wearing masks, everyone was being socially distant and sanitizer everywhere. And yeah, it was so fun to be back on set with people and socially talking to people. That's a big thing. Other than that, I've just been working on my O1 visa, which has been a lot of work, but I'm motivated to get that done. I'm actually going back to Australia in 3 weeks. So I'm so excited to see my family and friends. But in my quarantine, I'm going to reach out to some agents and managers to get some representation back in Australia to further my career there. I'm hoping it's more open in Australia, the whole film and television industry. I think it's going to be more open than it is in the US. And I don't know, I don't think everything's going to go back until, next year in the new year, or maybe when a vaccine is here. So I don't know, fingers crossed.
Yeah, absolutely. I like your insight. And you know what? I don't know what's going on in the Australia market right now. I'm sitting in a hotel room in my own quarantine in Australia, looking out at Sydney Harbor. It's beautiful, and I'm definitely looking forward to having some of those conversations with people in real life. And I get the sense that Australia is able to move forward a little bit faster because, they've managed to control this virus and this pandemic a little bit better than the United States. I really hope for the best for you and you come here and you can find that representation and really make things happen for you once you get back home.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Right, and let's move on to one of my favorite sections in the interview. I call it the Grease Lightning Round. I am going to ask you a handful of questions. I want you to answer them as quickly and concisely as possible, one after another. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm nervous, but I'm ready.
Okay, first question. What was the one thing holding you back from committing to a career as an entertainer?
Leaving my family in Australia.
Second question. What is the best piece of advice you have ever received?
Rules are meant to be broken.
Yes. Third question. What is something that is working for you right now? Or if you'd like to go pre COVID, what was working for you before our industry went on pause?
Networking with people, definitely.
Absolutely, especially in that LA market. Absolutely.
Yes.
And the fourth question. What is your best resource? Whether that is a book, a movie, a YouTube video, podcast, maybe a piece of technology that you've found is helping your career right now.
Movies, definitely. I've been watching all the classics.
Ah, beautiful. And the fifth question. If you had to start your career from scratch, but you still had all the knowledge and experience you've collected from your career in this industry, what would you do or not do? Would you do anything differently or would you keep it the same?
I'm happy where I am now. I think I would keep it the same. Yeah, I'm happy.
Great. And the last question. What is the golden nugget knowledge drop you've learned from your successful career in this industry that you would like to leave with our listeners?
I just be careful who you trust in the industry. It's a crazy town, especially in Los Angeles. And yeah, keep going, keep striving for what you believe in. Don't let anyone tell you something different. Just you have to go with your gut.
Absolutely. And to wrap up this interview, Charlie, it is time to give yourself a plug. How can we find you? How do our listeners connect with you? Is there anything you want to promote?
So you can find me on either IMDb, which is my name, Charlie Powell, and then Instagram is Charlie_Powell26. And yeah, other than that, that's where you'll find me. That's where my work is, my life. So yeah, go check me out.
Beautiful. And for everyone listening out there, I have put both of those links in the description of this episode so you can easily click and connect. Charlie, thank you so much for taking your time to be here and sharing all of your journey with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for joining us today. My one call to action for you is to go to youbookeditpodcast.com and join our free email community where we dig deep into a continually growing resource of truly actionable things you can be doing right now to help advance your entertainment career. Don't miss an episode. We have a new guest 7 days a week. Search for You Booked It on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast app and subscribe today. All the best to you. We'll see you tomorrow.